At 8:05 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Kelly Jackson is off today. She has fallen illness to what my father would call the VGA, the virus going around. And I know she's going to be listening here because Randy Leopando, right? Did I get that right?
Correct, yes.
Very good. Randy Leopando is her personal trainer. He's the director of personal training and sports performance for NutriFormance Athletic Republic, and he joins us here in studio. Nice to have you on board.
Great to be here. Thank you.
We were talking coming into the studio. This has got to be the time of the year that people, that New Year's resolutions and thinking 2018 is the year that I kind of want to get myself in better shape. And they'll reach out to people or to facilities and try to find somebody who they can help them. And that's my very first question. How do you find somebody? I mean, there's word of mouth. You could talk to Kelly Jackson because Kelly talks about you on and off the air. Or you could open the yellow pages, or you could go to an exercise facility. But what's a good quality way to find somebody that matches up with you and what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, fortunately, we have the internet now. However, because of the internet, there's a lot of self-proclaimed experts out there, and the information starts to become muddled. And now you're like, oh gosh, what am I looking for now? So I guess that kind of inspired me to help the consumer out there figure out how to choose a personal trainer. And, these days, there's no really a federal regulation on personal training credentials. With that said, nowadays there's universities offering degree programs to help with that, and there's obviously certifications out there too. But again, the internet, now there's tons of certifications. There's only certain ones you should look out for.
So the idea being that anybody can hang their shingle out and say, I'm a trainer.
Absolutely.
Now, what you should be looking for when you initiate contact with somebody and say, hey, tell me, what's your curriculum vitae? What have you achieved, and what sort of documentation do you have that shows me that you're the man?
Well, nowadays, since competition is so fierce between trainers, a degree and certification first and foremost. There's two types of people out there that are looking for trainers. One, the person hasn't stepped foot in a gym for over 10, 20 years, and there's an individual who has been in a gym and hasn't used a trainer but is now going to be shopping around. So my tip for the person who hasn't stepped foot in a gym for a while is look online, check out different facilities, and look at the bio pages of trainers and see if they have a degree, a certification. And you can look up some of the certifications they have if they list them and see if they're legitimate certifications.
I always laugh when I see people, usually people in Hollywood, and they look like $1 million. They could be 70 years old and they look fantastic. And a friend of mine once said, man, they look really great for their age. And I said, yeah, if your sole purpose, other than acting, is you have a personal trainer who comes in and you work X number of days a week with them, that's not practical for a lot of people. So then you start getting into a cost basis. What are there reasonable expectations price-wise, and how does that break out? What are the questions you should be asking about? What's this really going to cost me anyway?
Well, price is going to depend on where the facility is located and kind of what their, different gyms these days is so different than when I started 20 years ago. There are gyms that now have a tiered program where you can join and work with a trainer one-on-one. There's programs where there's 5-on-1, 5 clients per one trainer. There's programs where there's 12 to 20 people per one trainer. There's all these different little facilities out there that offer this instruction now that used to be just group fitness way back in the day, like those aerobics classes. Now there's small group personal training that helps drive the cost down. Typically a one-on-one session will cost around $60 to $70 per hour. And now these small group training sessions can now cost you anywhere between $12 and $40 an hour now.
This is Randy Leopando, who is joining us here in studio. He is Kelly Jackson's trainer and works with other individuals as well. How did you get involved in this line of work anyway?
Well, it started way back in high school, and I injured my knee during a soccer game, and I needed to get stronger, so I basically read books and worked out in my basement. And then when it came time to figure out what I wanted to do for a living, I thought, well, that worked, sort of. Yeah. And so that went and got a degree and got some certifications, and here I am today.
It seems like there's all sorts of different types of exercise machines, for lack of better terminology. I think of people who cycle. I see these rooms full of people with a leader in the front, and there's pedaling. They're going nowhere, but they're pedaling like mad, and they're obviously their cardiovascular rate's got to be off the charts, pumping a lot. Then you see the people who like to lift weights, and then you see the people who do the leg lifts and that sort of thing. Do you work on like a circuit of items, or is there a particular area of expertise that you have when it comes to training with people, or is it custom designed for each person depending on what they want to do?
So ideally, it should be custom design. There always should be a form of assessment when you start a training program, whether it's them just take a trainer or facility taking your body weight, height, and different measurements to a functional movement screen, which is what I do. And a functional movement screen is a good way for me to assess your mobility, flexibility, if you have any muscle asymmetries. It allows me to see if you're at risk for any potential injury, whether it's from working out or just moving in your activities of daily living.
Now, what sort of things transpired? Let's say I just walked through the door and you and I were communicating, and you said, well, let's go ahead and we'll go out in the gym, and you would put me through my paces, I guess is the best way to put it, right?
I would do a formative evaluation first.
Yeah.
And that'll give me an idea on what exercises to do and not do on you.
Yeah. So in other words, what do you hope to accomplish out of all of this, Doug? That's what I'm trying to figure out is what do you want to do? Do you just want to have you want to tone up the muscles? Do you want to just feel better in general purposes and be able to elevate your heart rate and get, that sort of thing? And so you go through a series of questions before doing anything else with people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A trainer should always get a health and physical activity history of a client, just to see if there's any other contraindications before we put you through a program.
Is this something that, if you're thinking about doing this, because obviously you're going to be exercising to do these things, that you should talk with your personal physician beforehand, especially if you've had, previous problems like having a knee issue or elbow or other cardiac situations? Talk to your physician and then relay that information to the potential trainer.
Absolutely. That's especially if you've been sedentary for a while.
Yeah.
You should see a physician. Generally speaking, the guidelines are if you're a male and 45 years of age or older, get a physical and see your physician and let them know that you're participating in an exercise program, a fairly vigorous one. And for females, it's 55 or older.
Now, on average, and I'm just using you as an example, how often do you see your students? Because that's the way I like to think of it, is they're students of yours that you're working with. How often do these people come by? This is one of these customized programs where they may come once a week or twice or 3 times a week. Is it variable?
Thanks to life, it really depends on someone's schedule and how what program they choose or how much they can afford. But typically we try to cater it to their lifestyle. If you can only come in once a week, we're going to have to figure out a way for you to exercise some other days of the week too. Many times, though, people go into the new year, they go in too hard, too quickly, and they after 1 month, they can't move, and they're sore all the time. So take it slow. I tell people it took you X amount of years to get to the point where you are today, whether it's 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years. So if we can get on a nice fitness program, we can probably see a lot of changes in a fraction of that time.
So there's almost like homework. Come see you, and you will leave them with some instructions and saying, next time I visit with you, I'd like you to have walked a mile, and then we'll build it up to 1.5 miles, and I'd like you to do leg lifts at home and do things like that.
Absolutely. That's one thing that any consumer should ask the trainer what they can do on their own, because if they only go in twice a week, it's not going to really do much.
Very good. Thank you. How do people get in touch with you, just in case? Let's drive some business your way.
You can email me, RandyL@NutriFormance.com. You can check out our website, NutriFormance.com, and take a look at what we have to offer. And we're on NutriFormance on social media as well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Very good. Thank you for stopping by on this day. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good talking to you. Randy Leopando, who is Kelly Jackson's personal trainer. He is Director of Personal Training and Sports Performance for NutriFormance /Athletic Republic here on the Big 550 KTRS.
St. Louis is a special place.